Alright guys, here we're going to talk about another movie. Today we're talking about Gator Bait. 1973's Gator Bait, Lee. Had you seen it before?
No, I like a museum. What do you mean? I don't know. I've seen this.
So Gator Bait 2 is the one that I'm remembering.
Oh my god! I didn't know there was a story. Okay.
Yeah, I recently got
Taking
into a
back.
conversation about it, and I was like, oh, you ever seen this? And of course they said no.
The classic
And then
Gator Bait.
I described the plot of 2, and they're like, oh, it's a lot like I Spit on Your Grave. And I was like, it's almost exactly the same as I Spit on Your Grave. And then I was like, but it came first!
Wait a minute! Yeah, a tale of feminine revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate this movie.
Did you?
I mean, it's old.
It's a ginger. I thought you'd love it.
I did not necessarily hate it, but I was just like, this is the epitome of like, oh, what's that movie about? And I'm like, it's about this thing that happened one time. Like, there's nothing to say or do or talk about or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's loose, but there's a lot
whatever.
of funny things that are either intentional or not, or in the movie that I enjoy.
Okay.
Being that it's like an early '70s movie, I also just respect it. That I'm like, this is filmed in the swamp.
We should.
That wasn't easy.
There's a lot to talk about with
Yeah.
that sort of thing because it is so freaking old or whatever. But it's funny how it being so old, it still reminds me of things from like yesterday too.
Yeah.
It's interesting in that way. So there's a lot to talk about. I don't know if anyone needs to go watch this for like themselves.
So I made you watch this because I want to watch the second one again.
Oh.
And I didn't think you were gonna fully grasp the second one, which almost has nothing to do with the first
Yeah.
one unless you've seen the first
I would
one.
have been lost in the second one if we hadn't done this groundwork. This establishes all the characters.
Indeed.
You know?
I don't know if any of them are in the second
No,
one.
they're all
All right,
dead.
guys. So if you've seen it or don't care, follow us over to spoilers. And if not, pull out now.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
All right, so here we are for the spoilers of Gator Bait. Lee, let me hear them spoiler-filled thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's an old movie.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an old movie, but I think part of that, like being from like the exploitation-y era, adds. There's so much things that are hilarious in this.
Goddamn coot-ass bitch.
True.
Like it opens. It's two guys in a boat waiting for our what the hell's her name? Desiree.
Desiree.
Yeah, there's like a theme song.
She has a theme
Desiree,
song. She has a
Desiree.
theme song.
Yeah,
Oh,
which is dope.
theme song alert.
They're just waiting in a boat for her to check her traps.
Yeah.
Their plan is to rape her.
They literally say, "We about to rape this bitch."
Yeah. And you're like, what the fuck?
Lay down out here and screw us in the middle of the swamp.
She ain't got no choice.
My notes characterize this film as like two different groups of rapists going after this Playboy model or whatever. It's a very
She reminds
interesting.
me of Sheena.
Do you want to die?
Do you know
Yeah,
Sheena?
exactly. She
Like
has
at
a
one
vibe.
point, her outfit is like the exact same, and she's like, jumping through the jungles barefoot.
So like they keep filming her like she's like a big deal or whatever, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? And then it's like, oh yeah, Playboy, and she was in like 20.
I had never heard of her before in my life.
Yeah, no. I don't know her now, but I think in 1973 it would be like, oh shit.
Oh yeah, maybe.
I mean, not like everyone, but someone who goes, oh wow.
Like she
she's in a
clearly
movie.
wasn't an actress
Yeah.
because like she's playing like a French Cajun.
Yeah, they have her speak some form
and she
of-
speaks almost like a caveman.
This time I go deep into swamp. Maybe I get better luck.
I wrote that in my notes. I'm like, is this Creole or caveman? Why do you talk like
Yeah,
this?
because
Yes.
sometimes she hits it where I'm like, okay, I see what you're going
Yeah.
for there. That's a little Gambit-esque.
Why you do
And
me
other
like
times
this
it's like,
or whatever,
me
yeah.
go in. And you're like,
Yes,
what
and
the
you're like-
fuck is that?
You stay, me go. And I'm like, that's not Creole, that's caveman. Yeah.
But some of the lines are fantastic. Like they're chasing her down in a high-speed boat chase, which
yeah.
honestly, I'm like, okay, that
Yeah.
could have been dangerous. Who's to say what would happen there?
No, this is the highlight of the movie for me because I'm not as into rape as I would have thought. So it turns out it's the boat chases that I was like, okay, but it's like it's a 90-minute movie. It's like 20 minutes of just slow speed boat chases.
I'm there for the one-liners. So
Yeah.
they're chasing her in this boat,
Yeah.
and the guy's like, slow down in the name of the law, and pull down your britches.
Hey, Desiree, pull over in the name of the law and drop your britches.
And all that. So like
What?
that's my
His intentions are clear from a distance.
Oh, they
like,
even-
it's so wild.
when they're like, plotting the scheme, he's like, well, she's gonna have to give it up, or else we're gonna give her up.
But it's
like,
very
this is
different
crazy
when it's
things.
two dudes talking in the woods, and like there was no illusion of like,
Versus,
okay,
like,
we'll trick her, we'll handcuff her, and then we'll do this thing. He's like, my intentions are bad. You should stop.
I was just gonna do it like that, where yes, they are chasing her. He's like, stop, so we can rape you. Like it's like,
He
why would
says
she
that,
stop?
essentially.
Yes, exactly.
It's crazy.
It's very interesting as a like film or something.
But things get even crazier. Like where I'm saying it's a funny movie.
Yeah.
She stops them in like a cartoon like Coyote Roadrunner way of like throwing a bag of snakes in there. You're like, okay.
Does she say
that's
yeehaw
fun.
there as well? She says
Does
something.
she say yeehaw?
There's a couple of
One part
yeehaws
faster.
where she's like, "Yeah, I gotcha!" Some like exclamation. I forget
But
what she
this
said.
fucking like clown shoes idiot sheriff guy is shooting snakes that are on the floor of his boat.
Yeah, I love it.
And you're sitting there like the boat's gonna sink.
And he says, "I hate snakes."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Well,
He's essentially Indiana Jones.
there you go."
I hate snakes, Chuck! I hate them!
Then he shoots his boy in the fucking melon, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay,
He
everything.
got
good is
ketchup
okay.
on his buddy's face, and now he's gonna drown. He goes, and like falls into the water. Yeah,
It was wonderful.
pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's these two clans of rapists, and this is one. So there's like cop rapists, and there's rapists, like people who live in the woods and rape people.
Incestuous mountain men rapists of the swamp.
And like that's who comes together for the manhunt of the lady.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. But yes, we it goes places. They lie about what happens. They create this entire conceit and everything. They expect us to care about the history of these people and like who knows who and who's
It definitely has some deep lore where it's like, oh, these mountain rapists might be her father. That could be a lie. Who's to say?
That's crazy though,
the
right?
sheriff might be her father.
I admit she's pretty as a ma, but man, Kunaz comes a whole lot easier than that.
What are we doing?
Like it's a little ambiguous
so,
and unclear.
I was gonna say it before. That's one of my pet peeves in like modern movies when they dub in dialogue, because later they go, "What the fuck? We don't know what's going on here." So for half of these boat chases, you'll hear someone like be like, "What are we gonna do? Once we find her, Pa? Well, we're gonna do this," and it's just like dubbed in over the random boat footage and all that stuff.
They do one of those because earlier they do a thing where it's like, remember when John tried to rape her? She cut his nuts off.
Yeah, Leroy tried to get him a piece of her. You know she did. She cut his balls off.
That's because your brother's stupid. We ain't stupid.
And like they don't just breeze over that. Later on, it's like, that's why we couldn't take her in for that, because then I would have had to take you in, because that's technically rape. And you're like, what the fuck?
A plain case of rape, as far as I'm concerned, her being a youngin' and all. Besides, I'd had to put him in jail too if it'd come to court, and I told you so.
Like, it's such a weird, like, let me breeze over this person. I'll just talk while you can't see my mouth moving.
But why would they create all of this backstory where, to your point, this is an exploitation type film. This shouldn't be necessary. Also, there's only like 3 times when there's a dude wrestling with a woman in the mud, and it's supposed to be like
one time is a guy's sister.
Yeah, but like, I made a joke before, like, that's what this is. It's like people want to see ladies in like nothing but a sheer white dress being like pinned down by a redneck guy.
That's what the 70s were. Yeah.
That's, I mean, but like.
I think there's a lot more to this movie though, which to give it credit, not just that.
But that's my problem, is that like, it's not this constant, because that's not sexy, and if it ever was, you have a problem, those people that like this. That doesn't even happen that much. The boat chases are I appreciate them because people are really in a boat. Yeah. But they are kind of boring by modern standards, obviously. They're just riding around in a boat with a cameraman, right?
Yes.
It's cool that it's really her doing it. I like that part, right? But then to have all this history and backstory and like, well, I'm your pa and all that stuff, and you're like, who? What?
I'm your pa.
Whenever I see movies before modern safety practices, that I'm like, well, this is in the Louisiana
That's
backwoods.
just a snake, yeah.
And that guy's just, they're in the water. Anytime a gator could actually bite this guy.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm always like, what the fuck?
They might have built the little shack, and I say that only because they burned it down, apparently.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, they must have built that. But that's it. They just built it there. They didn't ask anyone. They didn't get any permits. There's nothing.
I would assume that. No.
And the only time it's like a stunt woman, I think, is when she jumps 3 inches over a log. And it's like, yeehaw! And does that whole fucking thing. Because the hair is bigger and it kind of looks like it's not like her. But every other thing, she's in the fucking boat.
Yeah.
This like model chick is in the
There are
boat.
parts where the boat's like branches are like hitting people in the face. At any moment, that could be a thicker branch than you think it is, and then off the boat you go.
And your expensive camera gets knocked into the water. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Imagining filming this is the highlight of it for me.
That exactly it.
It is not the actual film.
I can't even imagine because, and maybe they aren't that like maybe it's like like an Instagram video where it shows this beautiful scenic thing and then you turn slightly and it's the highway. Like
it's literally
maybe they are very close,
rest stop,
but at the very
probably,
least,
but still.
he's still in waders, like in water, holding a film camera.
Yes.
Which aside from it just being heavy and having not sure footing, that's in its own self a task.
But not like, oh, I have my iPhone and I'm down by the docks. It's like this giant camera that's like fucking No, incredible. And then to end up with this final product where I'm like, what?
Kiss the sun, embrace the sky. Desiree.
Was this were people like, oh, this is my favorite film? And like, what the fuck is this?
There are characters that I do like enjoy what they put into them though. I thought like the crazy one that she cut the nuts off of, like that guy.
Now you see there, Sheriff, she done it this time. There's me, now Ben.
Yeah.
Like you're like, okay, that's not just this flat character.
Yeah.
He kills her sister. Rather than let her get raped by his brother and the sheriff because he can't be involved.
I liked that a lot.
And I was like, all right, this shows a this fucking crazy incel bastard like and just like shotgun to the vagina. That's hardcore.
And he says, that man enough for you?
That man enough for you?
Because the other guy, the cool guy, the guy who was trying to rape his sister earlier, that guy is, he's like, hold this or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Hey, Leroy, would you hold it for me?
Wiggle like a wildcat.
Right, to be like, oh, fuck you, you're not whatever the fuck.
You're a eunuch or
one
whatever.
of the so like you just took that at face value, right? The off-camera eunuch talk or whatever.
Yeah, I believe it.
I didn't know if it was meant to be like metaphorical or something, or if it was meant to be literal.
They do
but
mention
the point
you
is,
can't. And I don't know enough about anatomy.
I
if
think
you lose your nuts, can you not get up anymore? Is that a thing?
That's where the that's where the hormones come from, I think. I'm not an expert either, but I think being a eunuch, based on Game of Thrones, being a eunuch can do very different things to you. So I have no idea. But that scene's wonderful because he's getting up in her and stuff. He fucking takes the knife and goes down by her coochie and everything. I'm like, holy shit, this was like actually intense stuff. And then when the cool guy shows up and he's like, well, hey, how you doing? She runs to him.
Hey, big brother. What you up to? How'd you get her in such a huff?
And grabs him like, help me, comfort me, or whatever.
Well, I'll
and
just with him. He looks like a normal, like, oh, you'll save me.
But then he kind of, grabs her and pushes her farther away and is like, oh no, I'm here to rape you now. And it's this escalation of, I'm like, oh, this is cinema. We're actually doing something here. And it lasts for like 38 seconds of the entire movie.
And I think it was just a different time, and potentially these people are all just creeps anyway. But it's a believable, like in your modern movie that's made on a lower budget. Whenever these moments happen, people are very careful where their hands are and things feel fake. In this, I was getting like nervous.
Yes.
Because I'm like, okay, like these guys are very, very handsy.
And this is also like the younger sister.
Yeah.
So there's a scene where like she's bathing and like you don't see that much, but you see a little, and I'm like, how old is she? What the fuck is going on? I don't think it's like actual
She's
kiddie
probably
porn.
20 or
She's
something,
probably whatever
yeah.
she is, but she's coded to be like the younger, naive sister and all that shit. So then to have her, and then I'm like, well, it's a different time. But then they're literally saying, "Where are you going, little girl?" Like they're literally calling her things. Where I'm like, what the? Who is this meant to turn on? What are we doing? This should be like a test they give people to like weed you out of being like a teacher or a Boy Scout leader or something.
When they
it's like,
first
what the
show
fuck?
the brother and sister,
Yeah.
you're like, they look so out of, because she is like, I am
Oh, God.
Tarzan up
Yeah.
the fucking mountain.
Good luck to you.
Type of thing.
That whole thing's a
and the
mess.
brother and sister are like, you look a little too prim and proper to be living where you're living.
Desiree!
I don't know. And then like in the next shot, the sister looks a little bit more vibing and
Yes,
fitting in with
yes,
it.
because in a world where like people make fun of Game of Thrones because it's like, why are they so clean? And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
to watch this where you're like, you live in shit, you bathe in the river that is
creek.
like
Like-
literally made of like crocodile shit, and you're just like this beautiful, smooth, whatever. She has a little hair under her arms though. I was like,
You a wildcat artist.
I actually like that
I
a
like
lot.
it.
'Cause
I'm
like,
into that now.
There's no way this person's
Yes.
shaving.
and now that is a fetish that I can get on board with.
Oh, I meant to actually look this up, but I didn't do it.
Anything I might know?
What $3,000 was in 1973?
Was that the budget?
No, that's what the boat cost. I mean,
Oh,
that
I
cost
spent
me
$3,000 for that, but probably like 12 grand or something. I don't know.
Seems like a lot for that little fucking boat.
Boats are expensive.
I just paid $3,000 for that boat. Oh, God, wait till I get my hands on that girl. Why, she's honoring her old man.
I know boats are expensive.
Boating's
but
a rich man's hobby.
it wasn't like that boat seemed any more special than her boat.
He
She
had
wasn't
to.
shit.
He put the trout finder in there. He had the like double clutch, no gap engine thing where it's like good. He had a Hemi in there. I don't know.
Scared, Pa. You ever been scared?
Son, I'm scared, man.
So there's a part where the sheriff is doing something, and he like the guy like blows up his spot, and like he does like a spit take type of thing, and it looks like he's like drinking cinnamon.
Besides, she sunk your boat.
Holy Jesus, she sunk my boat too!
Like, what the fuck is that?
Oh, that was his snuff box.
Is snuff that brown?
I don't know. It
That
was the
stuff
'70s.
white.
It's the 70s. That's what I responded.
It's either pure or way dirty. Who's to say?
That was a weird, that was like a Tony Montana, like, this
Yeah.
weird, like, whoa! Where it's a spit take with, I think he was about to like toot. Or whatever.
Like it looked like he was eating it or something. Like, I don't know, but I was like, he's taking the cinnamon challenge very poorly.
Yeah. He sucks at this. This guy over here. What the fuck?
I'll do all the talking. You hear, Billy Boy? Come on.
Yeah, and that's the sheriff, which actually has one of the other only good moments. There's a moment, because he has a fight with like, and this guy looked familiar, and I Googled him, TJ, the head of the Rednecks.
Keep backing. I ought to kill you, you horny bastard.
The dad. Pie,
Yeah.
you horny bastard, doing this whole thing. I'm like, oh, this guy's awesome. He's been in like 1,000 movies as like General whoever, or like cop. He's one of those motherfuckers. So, nothing I knew though, whatever. They have a fight. They have like a real fight.
I'm gonna kill you with my bare hand.
Where it's just two oldish dudes
Yes.
just fighting, and they're just rolling around in
Feels
it.
good.
He grabs his like beard at one point, and this is one of the only times too where they actually move the camera. They're actually like doing filmmaking, instead of just posting up and then watching a chick on a boat.
Yeah.
Right? They're actually they do a close up where the sheriff is like wet and like winning, and he's like, "You son of a bitch!" And he's like hitting him and stuff. It's like these big like meaty slap hits where they're fighting, and they're just all clumsy and laying on each other and doing stuff.
Wet, gut hanging out.
They go into the water. It's this whole thing. I was like, yes, cinema. We love it. Whatever. Yeah.
Well, it's effective too because the sheriff dies right there.
He drowns his ass.
Son is like bleeding from like, was it a gut wound or something
Yeah.
like that? And he can't move anymore. And he's like, where's my paw?
Where's my paw? Hey.
Not that I feel bad for him because
No.
fuck this guy,
Yeah.
but I did feel bad for his situation.
That was
'cause he's
extreme.
gonna die in the woods.
No, if like the end of Ex Machina is like a 10 out of 10, this is somewhere else on the spectrum, but it's above a 0.
Yeah.
Where he's like what happened? Because
his position can't.
He couldn't see the fight.
Yeah.
Hey, where you going? Hey, take me, please.
He's like, Pa, what happened? Don't leave me! And he starts like shouting after them. And yes, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But of all the pieces of shit, he's like relatively, like nice, which is why they chose him, I think, to be the guy.
It is all his problem though. Like
100%,
everything that happened was
100%,
because
yes.
he lied, he killed someone, he blamed her.
Should have told you the truth.
Truth? What are you talking about?
It was a lie.
Yeah, he's a fuck.
Which is where it's the morality tale of like, if he had just told the truth from the start, we wouldn't be in this mess. Now he's laying there next to a tree, waiting for God knows what to come start nibbling on him. Like, they say multiple times, the swamps will take care of you. Or
And
whatever.
we see it happen
you're
at
like,
one point.
oh,
That
shit.
one guy, the
Yeah.
fair-haired guy who we
Yeah.
thought wasn't going to be a bad guy or whatever, and he was always a bad guy. The one that rapes his sister.
Oh, the cool
He's
guy.
like strapped out and like snakes are just eating him. He looks like he's been out there for weeks.
I hated that because it was off camera, and he looks so progressed into his whatever. I'm like, this stinks.
I loved you just the same.
Damn!
Why does he do that?
When he finds out his son died.
Oh.
It cuts to the guy like...
When they go tell him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because when he shoots the guy, he also goes, "Ah!" and like makes a long fucking thing. Again, one of the only times they go to a close-up where they have a whole different shot, and they just to show him going, "Ah!" like freaking out that he shot the guy. It's great. The movie's 10 out of 10.
You can tell she's like not really an actress though because of like just her face in between talking lines. Like she might hit the emotion that she has to when she has lines, but she's in the middle of like a boat chase, like for her life, and she looks bored.
Yeah. Well, at certain parts, I read that as like I'm just playing with them. You're trapped in here with me, type of fucking thing.
You're locked in here with me.
But yes, also, and she doesn't even have that many lines, quite frankly.
Not
so
really, and the lines she does have are broken English.
Yeah,
so.
this is not meant for her to.
I wondered if she's actually driving because the way we see some things, I'm like, is she being towed? Isn't that?
I had the same thought.
Maybe the bored face could be, I'm hyper focused because bitch, I don't want to die in this boat.
Yes. There's a few scenes where based on the angle, and like maybe they're just doing this because they want it to sell more.
Mm-hmm.
But she like pushes the throttle and then like does something and then it starts to move or whatever.
He done caught you red-handed.
And there's one scene where it's like the ones that are like front on, where she's in the boat, where you just imagine the cameraman squatting in like the bow or whatever, the beginning of the boat. In those, I was like, she might be being towed, but then she like turns the steering wheel, and then like after like a short delay, the boat then turns a little, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. Wait a minute, is she actually? And then it's like it's 1973. So they're like, can you drive a boat? And she's like, no. And they're like, all right, let's do this. And they just go into it anyway. Like, they don't give a fuck. Because like she like dodges a tree at one point, I think, where I'm like, what? How could what? This is so dangerous.
TJ has the biggest ears I've ever seen.
She's making it too easy. Gal's too damn smart to be making stupid mistakes like this for no reason.
And it didn't really click on me until there's a part where he's like, you listen good. And I was like, oh my God, that guy could listen better than anybody.
You listen to me, and you listen real good.
My God, no wonder he has such high standards about listening.
His
He's
ears
like
are
an owl, he can hear everything.
They're like half his head. They're fucking gigantic.
He's got something up her sleeve.
You can get out any time you want it, Joe Bob.
Maybe there's some weird camera trickery with like aspect ratio.
Oh, they used to use different lenses. The lens just has a little logo of an ear, where it's like the ear emphasizing lens.
He's like Ear Boy from all that. Like he's fucking huge.
Stealing my idea. How am I supposed to win now?
Boy, you got ears the size of Honolulu.
That's how they filmed the live-action Dumbo. Is with that camera.
It was that guy.
Same camera. They
It
got
was just him
they got the
painted
lens
gray.
from the 70s. Oh, that's problematic. He's appropriating elephant face.
When I see an elephant
There's a death exhale that had me rolling. And then it cuts to like a reaction shot, which is equally as good.
Billy boy!
Oh, like his whole thing. Yeah. There's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of weird choices.
I'm going back after him.
He's probably dead. Sheriff! He's gonna get you too.
Because when they like tell the sheriff, he's like, "Where's my son?" "Ah, he was shot."
Where's Billy boy?
He got himself shot.
Shot?
Like, it's so matter of fact that it's hilarious. Well, what do you mean he was shot? He's dead. Relax. He's dead? What the fuck?
No, there's a lot. I think it's trying to inject some social whatevers about like because TJ says like killing gators is the same as killing, and he uses some off slur for them.
Ain't much difference killing gators or killing coonies. It's a little messier, that's all.
Cajun people, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just a little messier and all that stuff. There's a whole intrigue with the cop was looking. I paid you to turn your head the other way. Keep looking away, sheriff. We're getting this done.
All these people make their money by poaching alligators, which
Apparently.
I imagine just became illegal in 1973 or something.
Was this made to raise awareness about poaching?
Desiree Thibodeau. Billy boy and Ben caught her poaching them gators, and the silly fools tried to stop her. She shot Ben.
Like why we should be allowed to?
I have no right because all this could have been avoided if only poaching was legal. And like the tentative alliance, like well she's allowed to do that. Her folks been doing that. The Thibodeau family been poaching alligators ever since whatever.
And like part of that stuff makes sense because like we make like allowances for other things. Like the Native Americans can do X, Y, Z. This can do that. Cause, like you're on your land. That's how you're like you can hunt whale blubber.
Haitians can sacrifice chickens or something. Yeah, it's like that. Whatever
it is. But like that kind of stuff does make sense to me, and like they do live in the swamp.
They're not using a lot of tax dollars, so you might as well chip them in a couple of gators.
I don't think they're paying taxes at all.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're not really.
Because no one even knows where they live. They're like they're out there somewhere. I think I found them once or whatever the fuck the guy says. Like okay.
Ain't nobody even knows where them Thibodeaus live except me, and I ain't for sure. So long since I've been there.
I think it's an unnecessary level of intrigue, though. I think it's the betrayals and the back and forth, because you already have, the perfect feud between the two groups of rapists.
Yeah.
One who's like, I want to arrest her, and one who's like, I want to kill her and get revenge, or catch up to her because she's my secret daughter, or whatever. So you have these two motivations.
Do you think it would have been better if she actually killed the friend? In like, because again, she was justified. If you're trying to rape her and she accidentally kills you, whatever. Sorry, there, scumbag, you're dead. And like, I don't know if we like the extra level of lying and stuff because it just makes you feel that much worse that her sister died. Her brother has no tongue, for God's sake.
Morning, coon ass.
They don't go into how that happened, but what the fuck.
He's a very clean-faced, tongueless boy. Yeah. I think that is this impulse to try to make the good guy good by not actually doing anything that's bad. Or like if this was a Western, Lady Desiree would have totally just shot the guy. Yeah. And then it's like the sheriff doesn't want to bring you in. Oh, and then this fucking rapist is like, can I tag along? And you're like, oh no, fucking okay, but she knows the place better than everybody else.
Because you could have justified a posse-style thing like, no one knows where they live. They know these woods like the back of their hand. There's traps there. I need a posse. I'm deputizing the whole lot of you, and then you can have like a lot more deaths. No, and make her actually badass, like a female Dolph Lundgren.
At a high level, that is sort of the flow. Is the cops go grab some locals to help them rustle up, but because she has to remain clean in the eyes of the script and the audience, it has to be. Well, she just threw some snakes. That's fine. You can do that. Yeah. And you're like, all right, whatever. It seems unnecessary. I feel like this could have just been a short pornography film that you could have watched. And now that is a fetish that I can get on board with. in like 12 minutes. One of those old machines you'd put your eyes up to and put a coin, whatever. Yeah, one of those old things. Could have been like that. Or another little ka-chunk, it just shows the basic rapes in order and some of the stunts. That's all people want.
Just put in a reel and click.
That's fine.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's alright.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Get your asses in the boat.